Did you ever love somebody? Did you ever really care? Did you ever need somebody? Just to rub your head? All the energy we spend on motion, all the circuitry in time, is there any way to feel the body? Through fiber optic lines. Everybody's going through the motions with their heads up or down. No one seems to see the other person's eyes and reflect the world go round. Everybody seems to want to get away to some place, get away from themselves. I got a funny feeling when they find that someplace, they'll want to find someplace else. Oh, do you really want to go to Mars? Do we really want to try? I got this funny feeling if we get up there, we're gonna stop and wonder why. Everybody's going through the motions with their heads up or down. Everyone seems to want to see the other person's eye, reflect the world go round. Everybody wants to get away to some place and get away from themselves. I got a funny feeling if we find that someplace, we'll wanna find someplace else. Well, do we really want to go to Mars? Do we really want to try? Oh, man, I got a funny feeling if we get up there, we're gonna stop and wonder why. Don't you wanna be right here, right now? Don't you wanna be right here, right now? Don't you wanna be, don't you wanna be right here? Don't you wanna be
Thank you, Katrina. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Patricia Pearce, who I feel a kindred spirit with. She's a Denver native. Her name is Patricia. And she has a fascinating story. After graduating from the University of Colorado, she served in the Peace Corps, which I also wanted to do, but I told her I was a little too much of a princess back then. Yes, so she served as a volunteer in the Andes of Ecuador, and that experience set her on a spiritual exploration that led her somewhat unexpectedly to the seminary to become a Presbyterian pastor, where she served for over 17 years. In 2002, following the death of a dear friend of hers, Patricia experienced a spiritual awakening that led her beyond the bounds of her traditional Christian belief. In that awakening, Patricia saw that all things are indeed connected, and that love is the essence of reality, and that the separate self is an illusion, a product of the mind. Patricia shares more about her awakening and how we are all being called to transform the story in her book entitled Beyond Jesus, My Spiritual Odyssey. So I'm excited to have her speaking with you here today, and give her a warm welcome, will you please?
Well, thank you, Trish, and thank you, all of you. It's really quite wonderful to be with you today. And you've heard a little, snapshot of my background. And the awakening that Trish referred to, and that I share in my book, my memoir, was really precipitated by the death of a very close friend of mine. And Katrina, when your song began and you said, "Have you ever loved somebody?" Have we ever loved somebody? And the experience of when someone that we love dies, how it is that grief can become a portal for us. It can become a transformative moment in our lives when we are willing to open up to aspects of our own selves that we have been unaware of. So the friend whom I loved and died, her name was, along with the Patricia theme, her name was Tricia. And she and I met in seminary, and perhaps some of you have had this experience where you meet someone, and the moment that you meet them, you feel like you already somehow know them. And that was the way it was. The moment we met in seminary, I thought, I want to be her friend. There's just that instant resonance, and I think a lot of us can relate to that. Well, Tricia, when we met in seminary, she had already been diagnosed with aplastic anemia, which is a fatal disease. And for a long time, she survived with blood transfusions, but the body can only have so many of those transfusions. And she'd reached the end of her options, and the only remaining possibility for her was to undergo a bone marrow transplant. That was the only possibility for her survival. And so she underwent that procedure, and she came through it, sort of miraculously, because they almost lost her at the beginning. But she came through it, and she had asked me to come out to California to be with her and accompany her right after her transplant. But a few months later, she died of complications, and I was able to get out to Stanford Hospital where she was. I now live in Philadelphia, and I was with her when she made that transition. The morning after she died, I was in her study, and I was surrounded by her books, her journals, her altar, and I felt her presence so palpably. And in that moment, I knew somehow that there was a dimension to my existence that I had never known. It's as though I had been living my life kind of on the surface, and I wanted to know what this deeper dimension was. And I resolved, like, this is what I want. And I didn't even know what it was I was saying, what I was really staking a claim to. And I asked Tricia to be my bodhisattva. A few weeks later, it was Good Friday, and I was making a pilgrimage to the woods where I had begun to go every Friday, just to kind of be there and be with my grief. And on this Good Friday, I felt like nature had been accompanying me in the winter season. She died in February. And nature, nature is asleep. Nature is like dormant. And I felt like I was being accompanied in this time of grief. But on this day, Good Friday, as I drove up to the woods, I saw the forsythia had come out. And the daffodils had come out. And I was bereft because I felt as though nature was moving on without me, and I was being left alone with my grief. And that day, as I was hiking through the woods, suddenly, as I looked out at the bare trees, I heard in my head Tricia's voice saying, "This is Rigpa." Now, Rigpa is a Tibetan term meaning pure consciousness. And in that moment, the trees were more than trees. It was like this immense presence, this immense beingness. It was like I was transported into another reality. And it was so beautiful that I just began to weep. And I knew that death, the way we perceive it, does not exist. So it was about a year and a few months after that I then had this really profound experience. And again, I'd reiterated this desire to open up to this dimension of my being that I had never known. And all of a sudden, I started having these really bizarre synchronicities. I mean, totally, like, these were too coincidental. They could not be happening, these synchronicities. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was a character in a novel that was being written by some unseen hand, and like, this does not compute. And I felt as though my empirical, material worldview was beginning to crumble. And I knew that something really important was happening to me. And I knew that what I needed to do, all I needed to do, was surrender to it. And so once again, I went to the woods, my favorite spot. And I went to this rock where I sometimes go to meditate, and I sat down. And I didn't know what to do. I'm here to surrender, but okay, what do I do now? The only thing that occurred to me to do was to begin to give thanks for the people in my life. Because somehow, some part of me knew that whatever was happening to me was because of my web of relationships. And so I started just giving thanks for person after person Thank you for Sarah. Thank you for Susan. Thank you for Taya. Thank you for Tricia. The moment I started doing that, I had this sudden realization that I am not a separate self. It was as though my consciousness stepped outside of this false self that the mind had constructed. And I realized that that separate self that I'd always perceived myself to be was an illusion. And the moment that I saw that, these waves of energy began to cascade through my body in this very powerful kundalini kind of experience, opening up all the chakras. I was on this rock. I was sobbing. I felt like something was dying in me, something is being born in me. And this went on for some time. And eventually the energy began to subside. And I opened my eyes. And I saw a world that I had never seen before. I saw how everything is sentient. Everything is consciousness. Everything is interrelated. Everything is now. Time, the way we perceive it, doesn't exist. And everything is love. It was like the world, all of a sudden, sparkled. And I was filled with this profound hope for the earth. Because I knew that something astonishing was happening, not just in me, but in this entire world, this planet. Something amazing is happening. And if we give ourselves to this inbreaking of love, the earth will be healed. And I continued in this heightened state of consciousness for several days. And I felt like this information was kind of being downloaded, imparted, and part of that was what Trish read today, this realization that we're living in a story. We are inhabiting a story in our minds, and the foundational belief of that story is that we're separate. That we're separate from one another. That we're separate from the earth. That we're separate from the source of our being. That we're here, all alone, struggling in these individual experiences. It's a story. It's just a story. How many of you are familiar with the movie The Matrix? Right? In this movie, The Matrix, Neo, he's offered these two pills, the blue pill, the red pill, and he decides to take the one that's going to wake him up. And he wakes up, and do you know what he sees when he wakes up? He sees a dystopia. He sees that the human mind is being used as energy, the human organism is being used as energy to fuel this virtual reality that appears, hunky-dory. But the real world, outside of that virtual reality, the real world is a dystopia. The earth is ravished. Now, I appreciate that movie in a lot of ways because it does convey that we are living in this sort of fabricated reality. But where the movie gets it wrong is the awakening experience is awakening to the reality of love. The real world is not a dystopia. The real world is the truth of love. Now, humankind has been living in this idea of separateness for a really, really, really long time. And we have fashioned a world based upon that belief. We have constructed empires, we have constructed cruel economic systems, we have lived out ridiculous ideas of race and class. All of this is founded upon an illusion of separateness. But that has been the foundation of the world that we have created together. But you know what? Consciousness is waking up. And this idea of separateness is becoming more and more absurd. All we have to do is look to the natural world and see that everything exists in this interdependent web of relationship. Consciousness is waking up, and there are many factors that have contributed to this. I'm going to put in a plug for a book. It's not my book. It's called What in the World is Going On? Wisdom Teachings for Our Time. And it's a channeled work by a woman that I know, came through her. But the entity that she's channeling, Manjushri, also often known as Melchizedek, who is a god of a deity of wisdom, is saying that right now there are these higher frequency energies that are bathing the planet. Manjushri refers to this as the shower of spirit. That we are actually being energetically awakened. And scientifically, our science is showing us how everything is interconnected, how consciousness affects everything. We've seen the Earth from outer space. We look at that and we know, oh, wow, we are in this together. So we are undergoing this awakening process. Awakening to the truth of our interexistence and to the essence of love that is the essence of all reality. That, my friends, is the meta-news. Now, you're not going to read that in the media. You're not going to read about, oh, the awakening is happening. Oh, more and more people are coming to know who they are as love. You won't read that in the news. But what you will see in the news is the playing out of this idea of separateness in all of its hyperbolic expressions. And this is necessary because we have to see it. And we have to be in the midst of this tumult. And we have to stay oriented in the truth that we are love. And that we are love's revelation and love's embodiment. Now, I know a few of you have read my book, and you know that I've been involved in civil disobedience, nonviolent civil disobedience a few times, been arrested a few times. And one of the things that I learned about when I was training to engage in nonviolent civil disobedience was that there are sometimes people who are called provocateurs who will be sent into nonviolent demonstrations. And they're people who the government sends in to engage in violence in hopes that they can trigger a violent response from others in the gathering. Or at least they can give the impression that this is a violent demonstration, and then that will give justification for, a crackdown. Well, just bookmark that for a moment, because I'm going to come back to it. But I want to share with you a dream that I had some years ago. And in this dream, my husband and I are living in this old city in Europe, and we're living in this apartment building, old building. And I step out of the apartment building onto this cobblestone street. And on this street, there's this whole throng of people who are headed in this one direction, and they're going to be engaging in some kind of a demonstration about the climate crisis. And as I step out on the street, I don't go in that direction. I start walking in the opposite direction. And in the dream, I'm aware that I want to go to the headwaters of the climate crisis, where it originates in consciousness. Because everything originates in consciousness. And everything that we manifest externally has originated in consciousness. And so, right now, where I am feeling called in this really wild time that we're in, I am feeling called to go to the headwaters of this division, this polarization, this cruelty, this greed, this exploitation, to go to the headwaters of all of that, where it originates in consciousness, where it originates in my consciousness. To do this kind of deep inner work where I am noticing every place in my own mind where I still harbor these illusory ideas. And what do I do when I notice them in my own mind? I don't fight against them. I don't judge them. I notice them. I notice them with compassion and with love. And that is how they begin to dissolve. And because consciousness is one, because there is no such thing as separation, every time any of us do this deep work, we are shifting the collective consciousness. And what I feel like, at least I am being called to do in this moment, is to be love's provocateur. To provoke means to call forth. We are here to be love's provocateurs. Just take that in. To be playful even about it. To do the loving thing when everything around us would tell us to, hate or get angry or all that. To transform the story by being a different kind of energy. To transform the story by being in a different state of consciousness. I want to share one more dream. Dreams have been very pivotal in my own journey, as those of you who have read my book already know. In this dream, I'm with a few other people, and we are witnessing something truly amazing happening. There are all of these butterflies, different colors, all different colors, and they're all fluttering up, and they're holding between them all, they're holding this vast silvery web that is comprised of hexagons. Imagine a honeycomb. All of these hexagons outlined in this silvery filament, and within each of these hexagons is a candle, the outline of a candle, a burning candle. And as these butterflies lift up this web, I and the other people who are witnessing it are astonished, and we know what we're seeing. we know that this is a rising web of consciousness. That this is coming forth in our midst. And in the dream, I'm like, oh, cool. It's like, wow, that is awesome. I want to go tell everybody about this. And so I'm in this classroom kind of room, and I'm trying to tell people what I saw. And everybody is so busy living their own lives and dealing with their own circumstances that they're just kind of milling about, and then they all leave, and they didn't hear it. They didn't get it. And as I've realized, as I've reflected on that dream, it's like, okay, that's okay. That's okay. Not everybody knows yet what's really happening. And that's okay. But what I choose to do is to stand before this revelation and be in awe and invite it to be embodied in me, through me, as me. Because that's truly what we are. Yeah, we're not going to go to, if we go to Mars, Katrina, your song, we go to Mars, aren't we going to get there and say, why? It's like what we're looking for isn't out there, it's in here. It's that light, that candle, that divine flame that is within each of us. We are each one of those hexagons that are all interconnected, all forming one reality, all forming one love. So I'd like to invite us now to close your eyes if you'd like. Lower your gaze if you would like. Take a moment to breathe. And take a moment to breathe into your heart. Allowing your breath to open your heart. Allowing yourself to enter into the knowing and the experience of your oneness with every heart in this room. To know that in this heart space we are this one web of rising consciousness. We are one with all reality, which is our source. Which is absolute love. And ask yourself in this moment, am I willing? Am I ready? To be love's revelation in this time. Am I willing to be love's provocateur in this time?
If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive.
So I just invite you to bring your presence back to this time and space if you haven't already. Thank you for that message and meditation, Patricia. Now is a time in our service where I just call to our attention how all that we do here at Unity Spiritual Center Denver is supported by your donations, 100%. So thank you for all that you give. If you have been inspired today, I hope that you will make use of the baskets at the back for cash or check. If you have cash or check, we're all in awe of you. There's also a QR code in your bulletin that you can scan for electronic giving, which I know many of you have set up automatically, so thank you for doing that. However you are giving today, know that you are helping us to live into our mission of inspiring greater connection, authentic connection with the divine self and others for healing and loving service to the world. So thank you for that. And Katrina, I keep wanting to call you Sabrina. Do you have an alter ego that's shown up here today? A lot of people in here. Okay, well, Sabrina's wanting to be known today. It's going to give us another one of her fantastic songs, so I'll welcome you up. Thank you.
Let me tell you, all my friends, about this joy I'm living in. Let me take the mic, go on and testify how I was dead and then I came to life. No more living in the dark of night. Now everything's alright. I've been changed. I've been brand new day. I've been changed. I've been changed. Tell me, why would I turn back now? There's no end to the love I found. Future's bright and there ain't no doubt. I've been changed. I've been changed. Yeah. All my heartbreak fades away like a book when you turn the page. Let me take the mic, go on and testify how I was dead and then I came to life. No more living in the dark of night. Now everything's alright. I've been changed. I've been saved. Brand new day. I've been changed. I've been changed. Tell me, why would I turn back now? radical. I put my hands in the air cause you heard my prayer. A transformation radical. I put my hands in the air cause I know you're there. You're so supernatural. I put my hands in the air cause you heard